All right, let's take a look at Adventure Libs. So you guys start out with an introduction. Line 8 says get input asking for their name assigned to name. So we have to start with the variable label name. Assign means equal. Input, always go after the equal. Parenthesis, quotation mark. And we say, what is your name? Question mark, quotation mark, parenthesis. Pretty straightforward here. Line 13, we say print a blank line for readability. All that means is put a print, open, close parenthesis there so that there's a space between the question that you just asked in line 9 and what we're about to type in line 20. Okay? Now line 20 is a bit long, but let's read through it. So we have print the following introduction to the story where it says bracket name bracket in the text, concatenate the name variable into the message string. So I'm going to start with the word print because that's what it said. Then I know I need parenthesis quotation mark. I'm going to start typing what is found in line 18. So it was a dark and stormy night. Period, space, quotation mark. I reached the bracket name bracket, which means I must concatenate. And in order to concatenate, I need plus signs. So I go plus name plus. Then I've got to pick back up with my string. So I go quotation mark, space, was walking home from the local inn. Period, quotation mark, parenthesis. Okay, so that one's a little long. Just show that one again on the screen. We started with a print, opened up with our parenthesis quotation mark. We have the first part of the string, plus name plus, that's concatenating our variable label. And then we have the second part of our string and our closing parenthesis at the end. Okay? Line 23 says print, suddenly a fearsome monster jumped out of the trees. Pretty easy. Let's go. Print, parenthesis quotation mark, suddenly a fearsome monster jumped out of the trees. Exclamation point, quotation mark, parenthesis. Okay. Alrighty. Moving on to the next one. In this phase of the story, the monster appears. So in line 29, we get input asking what kind of monster it was, then assign to monster. So monster is our variable label. So I start with that, monster. Assign means equal. So equal, there is an input. We need the user to tell us what kind of monster it is. So I typed input, parenthesis quotation mark, and now we're just going to ask a question. Okay, so it says ask what kind of monster it was. So we go, what kind of monster is it? Question mark, quotation mark, parenthesis. Okay. Moving on to line 33, it says print a blank line for readability. So another print, open, close parenthesis to give some space. And then we're going to look at line 39. It says print the following story piece, substituting name bracket name for the user's name and bracket monster bracket for the monster. Okay, so we've got two different variables we're going to concatenate in this line. But if you'll look at line 37, we have 1, 2, 3 different concatenations that we're going to do. Okay, so here we go. We start with print. How did I know that? Because it says that right there in line 35. Parenthesis quotation mark, the space quotation mark, plus monster plus, quotation mark, space, attacked, comma, leaping at, space, quotation mark, plus name plus, quotation mark, exclamation point. That's shift in the number 1, if you didn't know where that was at. Quotation mark. Then I go plus name plus again. So if you're following along, I just typed this part right here in the comments. And so now I've got to get the rest of the string here. By the way, for those of you who hate typing and like shortcuts, here's a shortcut for you. So I go quotation mark space. If you don't feel like typing all of it, I'm going to click with my mouse and drag and highlight that part of the comment. I go Control and the letter C for cut. And I come down here and I go Control and the letter V for paste. That is V as in Victor, not V as in boy. V as in Victor. And then the only thing I need to do after that is add my parenthesis at the end. Okay, so let's take a look one more time across the screen. We've got print the plus monster plus, attacked, leaping at, plus name plus, exclamation point, plus name plus, drew back just in time. Ooh, it sounds very suspenseful. Okay, let's go down to the monster fight. Okay, so line 46, we have get input asking what magic weapon they are armed with and assign to weapon. So weapon is our variable label. Equal means assign. Input comes next. How do I know all this? It tells me that. There's weapon, there's assign, there's input. I go parenthesis, quotation mark, and I have to ask them what kind of magic weapon they're using. So I can do this any way I feel like it. So I'm going to type, what is your magic weapon? Question mark, quotation mark, parenthesis. Okay, here's another blank line for readability. Print, open, close, quotation mark, at line 49. And if I'm going too fast, change the speed of the video. You can do that, or you can hit pause. Okay. All right, I'm down in line 55. It says print the following story pieces concatenating in the appropriate variables. Okay, so we have name, drew their magical weapon, holding it aloft. Aloft means up in the air, by the way. So I'm going to start with print, parenthesis. I immediately start with name. And I get that this piece right here is a little confusing. It's got a quotation mark there. We don't start with a quotation mark because this is a variable label. So I start with name. And then I do a plus sign. So why not a plus sign in the front? Because we're not embedding it between two strings. Put the plus sign wherever it's about to touch a string. Okay? So name plus, space, quotation mark. Now we type our string. Do a space so that the word name, whatever the name is, and the word drew will not be smashed together when they print. So I go drew their magical, space, quotation mark, plus weapon, plus, space, quotation mark. And then, if you remember, there is actually a comma right there. You see it right there? There's actually a comma. So I put comma, space, holding it aloft. If you forget the comma, it's not a big deal. Just make sure you don't put the comma on the other side because then it gives you a bug. Okay, so that's line 55. Let's look at line 59. It says the monster took one look at the weapon and knew that name was a powerful hero. Okay, so let's get started. Slide this back over. So we'll print. And it's weird, I get it. They don't tell you to print, but by now you should realize that we are printing here. So print, parenthesis, quotation mark, the, space, quotation mark, plus monster, plus, space, quotation mark, space, took one look at the, space, quotation mark, plus weapon, plus, quotation mark, space, comma, and knew that, space, quotation mark, plus name, plus, space, quotation mark, space, was a powerful hero, period, quotation mark, parenthesis. Okay, let me slide this back over so you can see the whole thing again. We started with a print, and we have 3 concatenations in this line. Slide it over for you so you can see it all. It was a lot. I don't want to shrink it down because you might not be able to see it on the screen. Okay, so there's that line of code. Don't forget your parenthesis at the end. All right, line 63, and we're almost done. It says, struck with awe, the monster ran away, never to trouble the town again. Ah, the hero was successful. Okay, so we start with print. How do I know that? Because it's given me a phrase to print. Parenthesis, quotation mark, struck with awe. That's amazement. That's wonder. That's your mouth's hanging open and you're staring. Comma, the, space, quotation mark, plus monster, plus, space, quotation mark, space, ran away, never to trouble the town again, period, quotation mark, parenthesis. Okay. And let me slide this back over so you can see it. Started with a print, parenthesis, quotation mark, struck with all, the plus monster plus, ran away, never to trouble the town again. And don't forget your parenthesis at the end. Now let's run it to make sure I don't have any bugs. So I'm going to hit run, and we're going to say, what is your name? And I'm going to say GPie. Enter. It was a dark and stormy night. GPie was walking home from the local inn. Suddenly, a fearsome monster jumped out of the trees. Ah! What kind of monster is it? It's a cat named Moo Moo. That is actually my cat, and she is driving me crazy right now. Okay. The cat named Moo Moo attacked, leaping at GPie. GPie drew back just in time. What is your magic weapon? My magic weapon for Moo Moo is cat treats. So we're going to go. GPie drew back their magical cat treats, holding it aloft. The cat named Moo Moo took one look at the cat treats and knew that GPie was a powerful hero. Struck with awe, the cat named Moo Moo ran away, never to trouble the town again. Boy, I wish that was true, but you know, she always just comes back for more treats. Alrighty, at this point, this one is done. You go down here to the bottom right corner, hit that pink arrow, and turn this baby in.